What up? What up? What up? What up? What's going on? What's going on? We'll get started in just a couple minutes or a few minutes. Still waiting for our guest. But welcome to another live MEC session. It's going to be another good one. I'm actually really excited about today's guest and today's topic. Merging two very strong passions of mine, music and sports. I think today's conversation is going to be very interesting. So I'm still waiting for my guest, but I see people starting to pull up. If you can just type in the comments, let me know if you can hear me okay, sort out any technical issues. Oh, here goes Sandra right here. Let me pull her in. Boom. What's up? Can you hear
Hi,
me?
I'm good.
Can you hear me
How about
okay?
you,
Everything good?
Vivian? Yeah, I can hear you pretty good. Sorry that the
Okay.
lighting is not perfect on my end, but
It's all
trying
good.
to work on improving that.
It's all good. I see we got people pulling up. Demoris Beats, what's going on? Swerve Beats, what's going on? Steve, what's going on? Steve's in the building. Appreciate you pulling up. Shane, I see is here. Let's see who else. White Goose Productions, I'm assuming. Let's dope. Yeah, I'm excited about this conversation. I think this one's going to be really good. All our conversations are good, but this one I think will fit right in with the rest of our dope sessions. So no pressure though, Sandra. No pressure. Uh,
I'm looking forward to chatting with everybody and being
yes.
on this session with you.
For those that don't know, we just dropped the first single off the 1 week notice album. I'm actually gonna put it in the comments so you guys can check it out. So as we're waiting for more people to pull up, I'm gonna put it in the comments. Give me 1 second. Sandra, I don't think I told you about this, but I did a project called 1 week notice where we flew 6 artists to LA, put them in a house, and they were recorded an album in a week. Um,
That's what's up. Is
so we
it with
did.
Revolt, right?
Yeah, so we just dropped the Revolt is actually been airing the documentary. The third episode comes out today, but we just dropped the first single, which is called Angels. I'm putting that in the chat. You guys check it out when you get a chance. Let me know what you think. The third episode of the 1 week notice documentary should be dropping in a couple hours, and then we'll have the Angels video dropping tomorrow. But definitely let me know what you guys think about that song. But anyway, back to what we are here for. Today we have Sandra Oboh.
Sandra Oboh, but close. You're pretty
Sandra
close.
Oboh.
Yeah.
There we go. And she works in music and sports partnerships. So we're gonna dive deep into that because obviously there's a lot of opportunities for music these days. Of course, you can stream, of course, you can sell music, but there's a lot of different opportunities for placements and creative ways for you to potentially promote your music or monetize your music. So I'm sure we're gonna dive into some of that today. But welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Cool. So before we jump in, like right into what you're currently doing, let's go back a little bit so people can understand who you are and how you kind of got into this space. So where did it kind of start for you?
Yeah, sure. Falling into music was purely accidental, but I'm so happy I'm in this space because I've never felt more myself and comfortable. I love
Hmm.
how diverse the music space is, how young and youthful and vibrational it is. But to go back to where it all started, I went to school for film and TV. So I went to NYU,
Okay.
Tisch School of Arts, and I studied cinema studies and TV. So the first job out of that was Bleach Report.
Okay.
So that was about, gosh, maybe almost 8 years ago, 7 years ago. So like right after I graduated, I was like, okay, I need production experience. I guess this is digital. I was like, I guess I'll try it out. So I did that. It was cool, but my heart was like, I went to school for TV and film, so I wanted to work at HBO. That was my goal, to be
Hmm.
like a development executive, TV production executive at HBO. Got there. Well, I didn't get to HBO, but I did get to Warner Media. And at the time, there was a network called True TV. It's still out there. They have this show called Practical Jokers that everyone knows about.
Hmm.
But got into that and I was bored and it just wasn't anything I expected. I look at my boss at the time, who was the senior vice president of production. and I didn't want her job. So I was like, okay, I'm going back to digital because digital was cool. I was working with people my age, and no shade to anyone older. Like I love learning from mentors who are older, but I like working with my peers and like being a builder and at the forefront of like technology and innovation. So I really like that. So I was like, I need to get back into the digital game. So I left, and then I got tapped to join this new company called Wave. And Wave TV is like a big sports media company. They became really popular after, really maturing and growing a lot of these sports channels on Instagram. So right now, I don't know if people follow Break Ankles Daily or Buckets, Best Highlights, but basically like a lot of meme culture and just social sports, like the best highlights you've seen. If LeBron's dunking, we're showcasing that. And, they hired me to help with their programming strategy to just make it a little bit better, right? Because a lot of these young guys, they didn't really know how to like make the content cool to get brands to advertise on these platforms. So I joined. And then very early on, I noticed like we would get like hit up by a lot of artists. I think at the time the biggest was I always forget like mess up the spelling or like pronunciation. His name was Drum. Is it Dram?
Drum. I think. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think it's
yeah.
Drum.
He had that song Broccoli.
Yep.
Yeah.
Big
So
baby, big baby Drum. Actually, I think he changed his name recently. But anyway, that's not the point of this
he
conversation. But
probably did.
yeah.
So yeah. So his team hit us up like, yo, like, can we put his music in some of the highlights you guys have? So we saw a lot of I noticed this opportunity in this white space. And at the time, a lot of the guys I worked with, no shade, a bunch of white guys, cool, but they just weren't really understanding the cultural aspect of like music and culture. So I was just like, all right, bet. So link that, and then I got an opportunity to work with Pusha T for Daytona album in 2018. We blew that campaign out of the water. After that, we started charging. So basically, what I do now, as I did then, is I work with majority of music labels, and when they have new releases from artists, I create a media plan, campaign strategy. They give us a budget, and we just sync a lot of the music against our sports highlights. So for Ball is Life, where I am now, that is the hottest, youth basketball players that are out right now. We have amazing, talented influencers like Slime and like White Iverson. If you know basketball, you're going to know Ball is Life. We're like the biggest basketball community right now on social and just in general. So that's what I do. And to take it a step further, outside of like major labels, we're in the works with working with people like Quavo and his AAU team and creating like a music sports content, right? So that's kind of what I do. I know that was kind of long-winded, but so people can kind of understand how I ended up here. So now I just kind of own this space, and I have a lot of fun, and I get to meet a lot of dope people like you, Damien, and just, figure out ways to get artists in front of fans. Because sports is like the best way to do that. And it's organic. It don't even come across like it's an advertisement. You know what I'm saying? It's like your favorite highlights, soundtrack with, hot tracks.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think it's a no-brainer. Something that I think artists have been doing for a long time. I know that a lot of artists have started working with, well, even back in the day when Logic initially did, like working with gamers to put music in gaming videos. So sports, the same thing. How have you tracked the traction to the actual followers of the artist or the streams of the artist? Have you dug into that data to see like how effective it is? Yeah, it's a cool look, but how effective is it in growing a fan base or growing your streaming numbers?
That's a great question. And like, that's where I try to challenge myself, challenge the team I work with, because it's like, okay, it's vanity metrics, right? Like we can get impressions, we can get eyeballs, but what does that translate to in regards to streams? What's really tough is that we have no access to streaming, right? What we do have access is to how many people may swipe up, for example, to stream a song. So some of the metrics and KPIs, which is for those who don't know, key performance indicators, like
Mm-hmm.
how we measure the success of a campaign, is link clicks or sticker taps, like how many people are clicking and this is on Instagram, for example, like how many people are swiping up to a link and how many clicks. So that is enough for artists now, but hopefully Instagram works with creators like us to just create more data and more transparency. I think
Mm-hmm.
when we do campaigns on YouTube, it's even better because then YouTube has this thing where you can like you can click, like if you like the music, you can kind of click the screen and it links out to their YouTube page. So
Mm-hmm.
there's full transparency. And I know I did a campaign at the time with oh my gosh, I'm blanking on his name. It's a song called Hit. Oh, I'm blanking on the guy's name, but like
It's
we
all good.
tracked our we tracked the campaign over a month, and I think a lot of action grew like 30%. So those are some
Nice.
of the cool things we do. So I'm always trying to find ways to add more value. So engagement is the best way. Comments, how
Yep.
many people are sharing the posts. You know, when people say, "Oh, what song is that?" Tag who's. You know. So those are kind of the things that we do to see that a campaign is effective.
Got you. So this is random, but so you're working directly with Instagram. Do you have any idea why they took away the swipe up?
Swipe up.
Yeah.
I
Now.
know. They get, you know, Instagram, they're always testing. They're
Right.
always changing. So now you got to click it. It's kind of annoying. I don't have an answer. You know,
Yeah.
I don't, I have better relationships with TikTok because TikTok is the hottest app for artists
Mm-hmm.
right now. Obviously, I'm sure y'all know.
Right.
So I don't have an answer, unfortunately, but I know they're trying to figure some stuff out.
Yeah. Instagram continues to make what's the opposite of an improvement? Um, they just continue to make terrible changes to the platform, making it harder to use. Whereas TikTok continues to eat their lunch by making things easier to use. Does Ball is
Exactly.
Life have a big presence on TikTok
Yeah, we
already?
do. I think we got like a little over 2 million followers
Okay.
on TikTok and growing, which is pretty solid because we literally just kind of started building that, I would say, a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to continue growing there. So we do a lot of campaigns there. I think what's cool about Ball is Life, a lot of our influencers, like content with our influencers. When I say influencers, I mean these are like, they're not necessarily NBA players, but they either play at the G League, they either compete competitively overseas. Like that content's taken off, and I just love that people have an affinity to White Iverson as they would, um, you know, Damian Lillard, right?
Right.
So yeah,
Yeah. No, I mean, I think you start to see some of these younger players that blew up on social media now in the league, like the LaMelo Balls
you
of
got
of
it.
the world. So yeah, it's definitely something to, pay attention to. Now, is there now Ball is Life, obviously it's a really big platform. You're working with on big campaigns with bigger artists. Are there ever any opportunities for smaller artists to work with Ball is Life, or should we more so talk about, because obviously there's Ball is Life, and then there's probably a million other pages that don't have as many followers, but maybe those is where the opportunities are at for independent artists because they might be more accessible. What is your advice there, or is there opportunities with Ball is Life?
That honestly is one of my biggest passions. I love breaking, what I wouldn't say breaking, but I love working with emerging artists
Mm-hmm.
because you get to have like a deeper connection with the labels. You know, we're not really talking with the artist directly.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm actually trying to create a product right now, and I call it a product because that's just how my brain thinks. A vehicle where we do artist discovery. So we have this thing called Friday Jams, and every
Okay.
Friday athletes. This is Ball is Life alumni. So this could be technically Steph Curry is a Ball is Life alumni because Ball is Life has been covering him since he was at AAU, right? So
Mm.
it could be anyone. And they just let us know the songs they're listening to right now, the songs that they're listening to train, to practice, to hoop or whatever. And a lot of times they'll put like Pooh Shiesty before Pooh Shiesty was Pooh Shiesty, or they'll
Right.
throw a Rod Wave before he became big. So a lot of times I learn about new artists through them. So I think that's a good opportunity. And I think in that slot, there's an opportunity for us to say, rising star or next up, right?
Right.
So I'm really looking for ways to give opportunities to leverage our big platform for emerging artists. I think so too. I got to shout out BeatStars because I actually connected with the folks there to figure out how we're going to put on producers. So
Nice.
instead of always like taking money, that's great for me, right? But how do we put people on? So finding a way, if it's twice a month, just dedicated moments where it's like, all right, this producer, put his tracks against some highlights, credit him, right? So we're gonna do more of that. So there's definitely opportunities, and I would
Dope.
encourage the people listening now or your network to reach out to me, and we'll get some placements and figure out a good cadence of like how many people, how many artists we can broadcast a month.
You about to open up the floodgates. If you want,
I bet.
if
I'm
you want some
serious.
help,
I'm serious.
no, obviously
We could
we're
work
super tapped.
together on it too. So
Yeah. No, obviously we're super tapped in with producer community and the artist community. If there's ever anything we can do to help support or streamline or filter out, filter through like some of the more quality artists that are ready for opportunities like this, we're happy to help. So definitely circle back if that's something that because
absolutely.
when you say just hey hit me up, that people gonna hit you up. It's gonna
Yeah,
be
they can hit me up. I mean, I think producers, why producers is, I would say, like, we're going to do the artists, but producers is really interesting because it's beats that, I mean, we could even use that for like promotion, branded content. We can use it like throughout. So it's a little easier, right? Just to
Mhm.
start off. So, and I love me some beats and instrumentals. I used to want to be a producer, but
Okay.
yeah. So I think the producer, that is a no-brainer because it only helps us. So that's a barter right there, right? It's like, you give us amazing beats and your beats get in front of, like, our videos do on average between 800 to 1.5 million impressions.
Mhm.
So that's a lot of exposure. So that is like an equal exchange. So that's great. With the artists, I want to do more of like a profile on them too,
Mhm.
right? So it may not be as many, but like I said, it could be next up, right? Every
Mhm.
Friday. And we profile 5 artists every Friday. We could just start
Dope.
with something like that. And I've already talked to my team. So that's kind of where we're thinking. So yeah, that's
Dope.
what's in the pipeline.
No, that's amazing. I mean, I think it's always I mean, I kind of think along the same lines because there's not that many platforms anymore that support independent artists. A lot of the blogs and websites have geared more towards artists that already are popping, they're safer to post. I think they'll get more clicks posting them, and there's not that many that support independent artists. So to know that there's somebody within Ball's life that's thinking about opportunities
Absolutely.
for independent artists, that's amazing. Um, do you have any suggestions for when people hit you up? What what should be included in the messaging? Like what would
Sure.
maybe pique your interest?
I mean, the good thing is that, like, we're not going to monetize it. So there's not going to be issues of, do you own the masters, this, that. I would say just have an audio file, right? Tell me a little bit about yourself. Give me your contact information. And it's pretty that simple. I
Mhm.
would say, like, producers, that's, like I said, no brainer. Same thing with artists. Like, it helps to, you know, give me a little information on who you are. Have a good Instagram. Have your Spotify ready. Because if we include you, because this is going to be Instagram stories, we'll probably leverage YouTube stories for now, right?
Mhm.
Just because that format just works the best so that
Mhm.
people can engage. So just make sure you have all your handles ready so that if people are, for instance, on Instagram and it's like 2K7, this is his song, they can click and make sure, you have all your handles ready so that we have those assets ready when people want to check you out.
Right.
So just,
Yeah. No.
clean up your brand a little bit, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And be prepared to get some exposure.
Yeah, no, I know because a lot of artists and producers be sending wild emails that
They
we
do.
gotta. This is why the MEC exists, so we can kind of coach how to communicate professionally to increase your chances of actually getting a response. But again, nobody deserves a response. You know, you can't say, everybody's not going to hit you back. You're going to get very few responses as you're starting out in the music industry. But to increase your chances of getting a response, you have to approach people the right way.
Just approach
Um,
it the right way. It goes so far. And follow up. I don't like, I'm busy. We're all busy. And I used to like how I got here. A lot of the jobs I have, I'm a straight shooter. I go after what I want, you know. So don't hesitate to follow up, because sometimes, I may forget, but you follow like, oh, that's right. Absolutely. Don't take it personal out of that. That's my biggest advice. Don't take it personal, because chances are, people, it might have just slipped their mind or they didn't see it. So follow up.
yeah. All right. So yeah, I'm gonna circle back with you because I think maybe BeatStars could help with this curation of dope beats. Obviously, BeatStars has a wonderful brand and a wonderful producer community. Because if you were looking for something specific, I know the people within BeatStars, like they know their producers really well. Like, so if you needed a certain sound or a certain, I'm sure they would have several names just right away if it was something specific for a clip.
Yeah. So this would
Um,
be, because I know BeatStars offers services where obviously their bread and butter is like, that's licensing, you pay for it. But I think this is strictly for like artist amplification. So this would be more of a marketing play for the producers, right?
right.
So I just wanted
No,
to make that
I
delineation.
know, but BeatStars, if you weren't aware, like the community is really tight knit. Like even Abe
That's what's up.
knows, probably thousands of producers on his platform by name, and he knows the type of work that they create. So, if they needed to put somebody forward for an opportunity that was something specific for
Got it.
a certain vibe you guys were looking for, like people, either him or somebody on their A&R team would kind of know, who would best fit that slot to save your time, right?
Yeah. Perfect.
You wouldn't have to click through a ton of beats. They could just be like,
Yeah.
okay, what are you looking for? Fast
That's
paced
perfect.
football, oh, okay, got you. They would, cut down on your time probably tenfold. So, um, dope.
Yeah.
All right, cool. I'm definitely going to get to questions from the audience. I know that you guys will probably have a number of questions. I'm going to ask a couple more questions, but for those that are tapping into one of these sessions for the first time, we typically have a question and answer session at the end. So no matter where you're tuning in from, whether it's Twitch, Periscope, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, just type your questions in the comments, and we'll try to get to as many of them as possible. So for you, for your career, obviously you're working with Ball is Life now. What's the dream position at this moment? Your dreams change, and you probably have a few of
Wow,
them.
that's a good question. I mean, I've had a lot of people encourage me to like build my own thing. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mm,
just because of how I understand sports, how I
mhm,
understand. I mean, I'm so connected. I worked at Bleacher Report, Wave TV now, I'm at Ball is Life. All the folks I came from at Bleacher Report, they're at either overtime, whistle, and just coming together to really figure out, okay, how do we leverage all the sports networks to create different things? So maybe over time, since they're doing the whole G League and they're investing in athletes, exactly, maybe music looks like, I don't know, like athletes and artists doing cool stuff on the court. Maybe that's more content, right? Maybe with Ball is Life, it's more sync. Maybe
mhm,
Bleach Report is more developing what soundtracks like for shows, right? You see the NFL, how they partner with Rock Nation, right? And they got these playlists that they put on for Thursday night football. Just
mm,
figuring out based on each sports brand, what are y'all doing with music, right?
right.
So I've been encouraged to pursue that. So maybe that perhaps would be my ideal job.
No, that's a great idea. I'm not sure if we talked about it when we touched base before, but I work with comedians, and we just started a monthly live comedy show called "The Whole Crew Is Stupid." It's based off a popular sketch from Big Ja, the comedian I work with most closely, and we're about to put together a soundtrack for it. Like, I think that platforms should be working with artists to create music, soundtrack, because I think that would be super dope. Because
Super
now
dope.
all you need is a platform, right? Like, all you need is a platform, and I think any platform. I don't know if you want to turn into like a label per se, but you can release music, and I think it would do really well, especially with Ball is Life. You guys have the type of reach to probably pique the interest of all the hot artists at this point.
Yeah.
Now putting it
I think
together is going to be a challenge. Like working with
yeah, I
artists.
think here's the challenge, right? I don't have a music background, proper music background, right? I kind of fell into it. I love the creator space, right? So you look at artists, athletes, meme creators, we're all creators, right? So I'm very familiar with that space. I know how to look at something, an opportunity, and figure out how to make it work. Like that's just how my mind works. But I don't know like the nuts and bolts of the music industry. So I think for me, it's a matter of finding people like you to work with and to create stuff, right? So if you know, let's say I'm the sports person, like I understand sports, I got the connection sports. I need someone like that in music, right? So that we can continue to build things, innovate ways for artists to get discovered. Because that's all I do, right? That's the North Star. I'm trying to get, and it goes beyond just America. Like my family's from Nigeria, so I am so excited to see how far Afrobeats is going, but there's more than Afrobeats, right? So I look at it globally. So
Dope.
that's yeah.
I'm here. I would love to collaborate on something. So anytime you have an idea, or I'll probably pitch some ideas to you.
Yeah, and like that project, the where they
The
get
one
1 week,
1 week
yeah,
notice.
like something like that. I think our audience would like that. So if there's any way to repurpose that or whatever, as whatever, like however we want to introduce our audience, like yo, y'all should check this out. Or a way we can incorporate athletes. Absolutely, that's how we should be thinking.
Dope. No, I'm definitely circling back. You just mentioned. I'm just curious. You know, Ball is Life globally. What does that? What does that look like? Like, is it?
I want, when I think of music, I want it global. But I'm sure like Ball is Life. I don't know. Actually, that's something I have to look into. I know we have audiences in London, Turkey. I want to say Brazil, right?
Yeah.
But from a music standpoint, like what are we doing for them? Like those places.
The NBA has done an amazing job at marketing basketball all around the world. You know, and I'm sure it definitely trickles down to the young people, the young White Iversons of other countries.
Right,
you know,
right.
so that was just a random question, just out of curiosity of what the viewership is like globally. Let's see, we do have some questions that came through. Let's see, Tom CB says, would you prefer an MP3 or a download stream link when they reach out to you?
MP3s are better.
So you want to actually
I mean, both work. Like labels, they usually give us a download stream link, so both is fine, honestly.
Okay. And I see some people are having some issues with the stream. I know a couple of times Sandra froze for me, but it was only for a second.
Sorry.
So hopefully.
I'm so sorry. It's probably my internet. It hasn't been the best. I've been trying to fix it, but this is the best I got. So hopefully y'all were able to catch the gist of what I've been trying to say.
I think it's when you start using like the hand movements.
I gotta stop doing that. Yeah, I'm African, so I use my hands a lot.
Nah, it's all good. Where do you prefer they reach out to you, on Instagram or?
I love Instagram just because I can look at their Instagram. So Instagram's good.
And it's at
Sandra Oboh, my first name and last name.
Okay.
SandraOboh.
I'm about to put that in the chat.
And y'all can email me directly.
You gonna give him your email address?
Ball is Life. Is it gonna be a lot?
All right, what's your email? Okay.
Okay, let's do DM. You scare me because how is that worse than the DM? I feel like it's the same thing. It's gonna be a lot.
What if you want to give me your email? I mean, hey, people, I don't. They're gonna think I'm hating now that I stopped the email. But
I feel like Instagram is just as like invasive, right? Because Instagram is my personal. So if I'm
oh,
checking
right.
it's like
Okay.
the same to me.
All right. So
So
what?
my first name, Sandra at ballislife.com.
Okay. All right. You got for the people that tapped in today. Now, again, I'm not saying that nothing's guaranteed when you reach out to people. Matter of fact,
Yeah.
for opportunities like this, the chances are slim. Let's be realistic. If there's going to be a ton of people hitting her up for the same thing. So this is a wonderful opportunity. I think people should be grateful for you giving them your email address. But we always want to establish expectations, so people don't get ahead of themselves. People are saying thank you. A lot of people are saying thank you. So cool. Is there
I'm
anyone?
not seeing the chats on my end though. I'm not seeing anything pop up on my end.
Oh, you don't see the chat? I thought you guys did.
No, which sucks.
Look on the right hand side. You might
I
just
know
need
it says. Let's see. Oh, maybe it's. Oh wow, I was on the private chat. Oh wow, it's a lot of comments because I was like, I wanted to interact and like see. Oh, this is great.
People,
Oh,
they're
it's so
tapped in.
many. Oh,
They're
I
tapped
love you
in.
guys. Yeah, hit
Maybe.
me up. And here's the thing too, right? I work in partnerships. So partnerships means both ways, right? So I'm gonna help you out, but I want questions too. I want to know, as artists, like what are some of y'all biggest challenges, and what if there was like a solution to get your music out or figure it out, what would it be? Like I kind of want to know how, as artists, how you guys are thinking, and what are some of the challenges y'all want solved.
Yeah, that'll be good feedback. So again, listen, there's some information that she's requesting. Don't just be like, hey, listen to my music. Hopefully you send an email with also your input and answer to the question that she just said, so that she gets some insight from interacting with you all. So listen. All right. So is there any other questions? I'm looking for any other questions.
I see a lot of people. Someone mentioned Tom C Beats mentioned the TikTok thing. See, that's the tricky thing about all these platforms. When you use social media, they have like software where they'll flag stuff, so it gets really tricky. You got to make sure the copyright is A1, because that's gonna hurt you, and it's gonna hurt you long term. So be very, very careful.
Yeah, that's my biggest issue with TikTok. A lot of our videos get muted, and I don't even know.
Us too.
I don't even
And
know
we
why.
got clearance. We get whitelisted from labels directly, and we have issues. So the good things for me is I know a contact at TikTok, so I'll tell them, "Yo, what's up with this?" But y'all gotta be careful with that.
Yeah. No, there was like somebody told me a trick, and it seems to be working. Like, because they'll mute our video. We're assuming, because obviously they don't give you the exact reason. We're assuming because it has cussing in it, but you can cuss on TikTok. Like, everybody posts videos where there's cussing, but I'm assuming because it just says we went against the guidelines or whatever. But what you can do is re-upload the video and have a song playing in it, but you can turn the song all the way down to volume 0. And then it passes their inspection. I don't know why that works, how it works, crazy. But every time I've done that, the video doesn't get flagged when I re-upload it. So
I'm about to give you a hack. I might get in trouble for this, but when it comes, maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I shouldn't. Yeah, I shouldn't.
If you're gonna get in trouble for real, then obviously don't say it.
No, actually, I shouldn't. We should always work on copyright. We should always get things cleared and not.
Right. I didn't even know. Maybe it's just for pages that are as big as yours, but I didn't know they had like a whitelist system for TikTok.
Yeah, they do. It's called Media Match.
Media Match. Is that only accessible to you guys?
That's labels, right? So because before, which was a pain in the ass, we like NBA YoungBoy. Everyone knows he dropped Sincerely Control. Like, I would have to hit up someone from TikTok and be like, "Can you clear this?" And they would have to send it to China and use their software system to clear it. Then days later, and sometimes like I'm like, music works quick. Like they give us 4 days maximum. when
Right.
a track is about to drop. So it's taking forever. So now TikTok's like, you know what, this is becoming too much work. Labels, y'all gonna have to whitelist directly with your clients. So now and Media Match is just where I think it works with, I think it's like it works with everybody, right?
Okay.
And it's like, just if Ball is Life wants to use this song, just uncheck their page on TikTok, and there won't be any red flags or copyright issues. So that's kind of how it works.
Just out of curiosity, and you may not be able to share the exact number, but maybe you can give us a range. Like, how much are the campaigns that the major labels are running with you guys? Like, and for how long? What do those budgets look like?
Sure. 300 or like an Alamo or like,
it froze again right when you said it.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, so y'all know 300 Entertainment.
Yep.
Right? Okay, so like independent labels, their budgets are smaller. So that on average is like 3K.
Okay.
The sweet spot for major labels like Atlantic, who happens to be my biggest client, 5K.
Okay.
But the largest labels pay sometimes 15K to 20K. But that's not that often.
Right.
So the range is 3K to 20K. But sometimes
I'm sorry. And what are they getting at 3K? What does 3K do versus 20K?
Okay, so in media, which is the space I work in, right? We're technically publishers on social media. We charge based on cost per impressions, right?
Okay.
So cost per impressions is just a way for us to not only guarantee impressions to the client, but it's just a means of how do we make a, like, how do we put a price on like video content. So we charge a CPM for music around $2.5 to $3, and that's per 100 impressions.
Oh, for 100 impressions.
Yeah, like excuse me, 1,000 impressions.
Oh, okay.
I'm really bad at math, but it's like, just know like $2 per 1,000 impressions. So if we're giving 1.5 million, we have to deliver a certain amount of impressions. So usually for 3K, it's like 1 million. We got to guarantee impressions. So generally that's like one post, right? I don't do that. I throw in a post, a YouTube swipe up, and a TikTok post. So that's pretty much what you'll get for 3K, generally speaking.
Okay.
But I think for independent artists, it's going to be a completely different metric system, right? So I'm not really focused with what we discussed. I'm not focused on taking their money, right? That's how we're going to create their own type of segment. Like I said, next up, right? For them to just kind of shout them out, right? But if you're an independent artist and you got a little bit of budget, I'm working on charging per post, something reasonable. I don't want to say the amount because I don't know, and I got to clear it with my team, but we're working on that. And one of the ways I've been trying to crack and figure out is like, I want to know from who's watching, if like any of the indie artists are on United Masters or any of those places, because sometimes they have to pay to like do some certain type of artist services. Is would you pay an extra, I don't know, $1 a month to get your music on A Ball Is Life? If you already have like a deal with United Masters, I kind of want to know from artists directly, is that something they would want to pay for? Like, even if it's just an extra $1. Like, is that something?
Now that dollar obviously wouldn't guarantee them anything, but what would that extra $1 do in your idea right now?
I'm saying, like, let's say you're an artist and you work, like, you have a deal with United Masters, right? So I don't know too much, but I know they have a system where you pay like a monthly premium to get your music placed and stuff like that. I'm saying, with that monthly premium, would you pay a monthly premium if they say, hey, we're also adding ways to get your music in front of sports content, whether that's NBA highlights, basketball highlights, football highlights, is that something as an artist you would like? That's all I
Right.
want to know.
So I mean, because United Masters has that's kind of how they promoted their platform when they first started, right? Like you have the opportunity to get in these, and to me, I've always been critical of that because obviously that's not scalable at a certain
Got it.
point, right?
That's
There's
true.
only you're not going to have like an unlimited amount of opportunities for artists that continue to pour in and opt into this program. So I knew that at some point this was going to break.
Got it.
It's not going to work. So
But with United Masters, they were saying you get in front of NBA content, which is tricky because NBA is a family channel. You can't curse, you can't talk about most of the stuff rappers talk about, right?
right,
But with digital media and Ball is Life, you can curse, you can do whatever, right?
right.
So, but I mean, that's a good point. And I'm glad you gave me that feedback because I was curious about that. And that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, so I definitely think you can be more creative with digital media for sure. So I'm happy to kind of help flesh out some ideas that maybe could work. Obviously I'll circle back. We'll have a conversation.
Sounds
Um,
good.
but yeah, no, I just think I just think it's awesome to know that somebody within an organization is even thinking about independent artists
Of
and.
course.
But it's not, of course, for most
But
like.
here's the thing. Like I'm coming from an like let's say I
Mhm,
work with a lot of athletes. They
mhm,
want to get put onto new music. And the thing about
mhm,
athlete culture, they want to be the one that said like, "Oh, I knew who Shiesty was before he was popping. I knew such and such." Like that's a flex. Like that's a good thing. If
mhm.
it's good music, people want to be put on. And if we're Ball is Life, we have some respect. People kind of respect us, right? Like they produce really dope sports highlights and cover the best up and coming basketball superstars of tomorrow. And if we say, yo, this person, right, this artist is next up, like, yo, this artist is dope, right?
Mhm.
Our fans are gonna be like, oh, who? Because they see us as tastemakers. So if I know we have a platform, why wouldn't we want to showcase up and coming artists? Just we're showcasing up and coming athletes
Right.
that are high
No,
school players. It's the same thing. So it wouldn't make sense to only focus on season X. That's how I see it.
I mean, I agree with you 100%. I think it's awesome. I'm just saying that there's not a lot of platforms that are thinking like that. So
Wow.
I
I'm
so I think
surprised.
wow, that was loud. Um, so I think that there definitely is an opportunity here and a natural fit for what you guys do. So I'm excited to see some of this stuff come to fruition and see some artists get some opportunities because there's a lot of there's a lot of really good talent out there, that I think deserve an opportunity like this. So yeah, I think it's dope. Let's see. Drop that hit said, can you listen to some beats live right? No, we're not listening to beats live right now and giving feedback. You guys know me by now. I don't like, damn, why is it so loud? Um, I don't do music reviews or feedback on music. That's just not something that I
Yeah,
that
I
I
don't
would.
want to see my reviews because I'm really harsh.
All right, we'll ask. We have time for a few more questions. If you guys have any questions, um, if not, put together. Don't just rush to email her and jam your music down her throat. Think about maybe a creative short. We don't want long emails either. Nobody wants to read a book, but you want to pique her interest. So put your best foot forward. Tell your story in a creative, short way that maybe she'll check your stuff out. So let's see a couple more. Oh, Cloud9's in here. What up, Cloud9? He said, "What are some instrumentals Sarah tends to like in her projects?" I'm not sure if you're. I don't.
Like, um,
I mean, I would
I
imagine
mean,
projects are different across the.
yeah, it how do I say this? It varies. Like, I don't want to say hip hop beats because that's really general. But
Right.
with basketball, we lean more towards hip hop. So I would say
Mm,
stuff like up tempo, stuff like that, like a metro beat, you know, um, London on a track, like different types. We're open, but it needs to be quick hitting. Like this is basketball, right? So it's got to be up tempo and stuff like that. It can't be too slow. Although there's times where that works, but generally speaking, what would you want to see if you're watching basketball highlights? So think like that.
Right. Okay, so Tariq Trotter, he says, I'm trying to understand if Ball's Life is actively looking for new music from artists and then placing these artists' music on Ball's Life content, or is this more so Ball's Life looking for artists to pay the former, Tariq?
Yeah.
So yeah, this is not like a paid opportunity, but this is a great opportunity to potentially get exposure to their fan base. That theoretically should lead to higher streams of the music that's in the clip. Yeah, no, I love this conversation. Basketball is my favorite sport. I watch a lot of Ball is Life highlights. I watch everything. Sideline, what is it? House of Highlights? Is it Sideline Sources? I'm watching all the stuff. So, dope. Anything else that you would like to share with our community in terms of what you're currently working on or what you see in the future, or any advice for folks to close the show out with?
Okay, the only thing I'll say is that if you follow Ball is Life, first of all, follow us.
Yes.
And right now we're doing a lot of these park takeovers with our basketball talent. So we got an East Coast squad, we got a West Coast squad. We're gonna have like a Midwest squad, which is like the Chicago, Illinois area. We're gonna get a Southern squad. So if we're around your city, pull up and say hello, because that's a great way for us to connect. So
each one of those teams needs a theme song. We need to produce a
that's
song
true, right?
for
So
each one of these teams.
Got it. That's a great point. That's a great point.
That's what.
That's a great point. I'm going to actually write that down. I think that's exactly how we should be thinking. So, and if y'all got ideas on how to introduce music, let's hear it.
And it should be from artists and producers that obviously represent that region. I think that would be super dope. But that's already going on, right? You guys already having those competitions, right?
We have competitions, but we don't have like soundtracks, or we haven't included artists. But let me
no. I'm talking about they're already playing. Like, this isn't something that's coming up.
Yeah, they've been playing, but there's like upcoming tournaments. There's upcoming park takeovers. Like, I know they'll be in Harlem soon. They'll be in Florida. They're always in Cali. So yeah.
You gotta let me know when they're back in LA. I definitely want to pull up.
Well, their Ball is Life is based in Irvine. So the West Coast squad, White Iverson, I think, yeah. They're all out there. Yeah, we'll link up after this, and I'll send you some deets, because you gotta get you some merch too.
Oh, please. I'll be repping it on here. Please, I would appreciate that.
Got you.
So this has been a great session. Hopefully everybody has not just seen that there's an opportunity here, but hopefully people are thinking more creatively about where their music can live and how you could build your brand and get exposure. So that, to me, is kind of the larger conversation. If some of you guys get some opportunities to work with Ball's Life, I think that's amazing.
Don't message Ball's Life directly, though. Someone said they message Ball's Life. Don't. That's a big account. Like, they're not going to see. I'm going to see it, but don't message. They're not going to see that.
Right. Dope. All right. Well, thank you guys for tuning in today. Please check out the 1 Week Notice song. It's called Angels. They killed this project. I think the album is amazing. But let me know what you guys think. Again, the video drops tomorrow. Episode 3 of the documentary should come out in about an hour and 10 minutes. So yeah, thank you. I'll follow up with you shortly. Probably. Or do you have time today to touch base?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll circle back. We'll have a conversation. Thank you guys for tuning in. Next week, I think Jaron Benton's coming on. I think I got Jaron to come on next week. But Payne will obviously be live on Thursday. I'm not sure who his guest is, but I appreciate you guys tuning in. Until then, have a good one, y'all. Have a good week.
Bye, guys.